powered by Riverside.
Hello, and welcome back to the Sad Van, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made us sad from the previous week. As always, I am your host, Fry, joined by my co host, Wesley Watkins, and my producer, Taylor Stone.
Hello.
So, we wanted to make sure we woke you guys up today, so we made sure that intro music was extra loud.
Sorry,
And I
guys.
was
I don't know what happened with my trigger finger.
It's okay. Sometimes we get a little excited and we just got to go in, man. We got to get the party going. I was just missing that 808. That was it.
Y'all,
I just needed a little 808 action.
y'all, it's late, so we're making it work the best we can.
It's late for you, it's early for me. As always, there was some good news, there was some bad news, and a lot has happened. We had some stuff with Deshaun Watson. Why do I keep doing that, Wes?
I don't know.
Deshaun,
Get your name straight, bro. Deshaun Jackson didn't do anything.
he's fine. He's off the hook. He's looking for a home. Someone pick that guy up. But no, Deshaun Watson. But I don't want to get into that yet because there is going to be what looks like a lawsuit where the players' union is going to sue the NFL so he can play this year. I know that makes us all sad, and it's a little ridiculous, especially with what we talked about last week, with Ridley being suspended the whole year. But you know what? Let's save that for next week. It seems like it's going to be juicy, and uh, let's abstain until we get more information. So, for the start of what made us sad, I'm just going to lead us off with what is taking us so long to pay these, classic players, the players that got the sport started. It started with the NFL, right, where we had the concussion protocol settlement when it came to CTE, and we were able to see that they were impacted post career, right? We see a lot of health issues that have come from running our heads into each other over and over and over again. So who would have thunk that was going to happen? And now we have the NBA paying the ABA players a settlement of $25 million, which equates to $3,500 or so dollars per year annually, with the longest tenured player getting about $35,000 a year. Uh, it's not a lot, but it's a start, right? And that's what makes me so sad is what has taken us so long when the NBA is a multi-billion dollar organization, right? The NFL is a multi-billion dollar organization. And people like Roger Goodell get paid $60 million a year. And I don't want to get too much into classisms and things like that, but that definitely makes me sad that we're sitting here like, even in today's world of inflation, I think you're good off 20 mil a year, bro.
Yeah.
I think you can donate that 40 mils to the
Right.
former players that are the reason you have a job. Go ahead, Wes. What were you gonna
Oh,
say?
I was just saying. I know. Like. I mean, it's not much. Like you said, it's definitely a start. But I mean, like some of those guys, like you said, are only getting like 3,500 a year. I mean, it definitely could be more. It should be more, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's about time. I mean, those guys basically started the NBA.
I disagree. You
Yeah, and we're
never take the
chastised.
first offer. No, honestly, I'm not
Never
I'm not
ever.
I'm not lying though. Like that's like them placating these people who have suffered for so long. It's just like if we give them something, they'll leave us alone, even if it's what
Well,
they
you have to also
deserve.
think the ABA was the African American League, essentially, right? It was where they put the black people that they didn't want to integrate into the NBA, which is a crime in itself. And then another big crime is they helped, again, like Wes was saying, ignite the game, start the game. They're a big reason why the game is what it is today. By the way, America, take notes: integration and diversity work. But um, the fact that we're making a move, I think, is very important.
I don't know. I disagree. I see this happen all the time where companies and entities, just to stop people from making noise about something, will throw any kind of money at the problem that they think will shut people up, even if it's what they deserve or not. And that's the problem. They deserve so much more than that and so much more respect than what they are being given. And by accepting this, they're like, yeah, it's okay, guys.
But the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. We don't know. It could increase over time. Maybe they're hoping they'll
I'm
die off
sorry. How
before
how
the
much has minimum
$25 million
wage
trust runs
increased in
out.
the past 50 years?
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. It is an example for all that we are, so as not to use words that may become too fancy. We'll just use the word example. And I know I follow Dan Price, and he talks a lot about that as well, right? Where he's saying the average salary of the CEO has increased between 20 and 50% per year, where the minimum wage has not increased over the
Yeah.
last 50 years or something like that, 30 years. Well, let's move to happier subjects then, Wes.
Yeah.
You don't have anything else. You're like, you know what? You killed it. We're all poor because
Yeah.
CEOs are taking
Thanks
all
a
of our
lot.
money. Let's I didn't mean to throw that dead fish in your lap, but there were happier things and sadder things. I think the Mariners being 14-0 is pretty happy,
Yeah.
but then tonight we had the home run derby and then you were made sad
Yeah.
again.
So, home run derby was tonight, and Julio Rodriguez, good old J Rod, he was crushing it. My buddy actually put a $50 bet to win like $500 on J Rod, and
Mhm.
he had 31 and 32 in the first two rounds, and then I think what happened was he was trying to go for that distance bonus in the final round, and he got a little
Mhm.
sloppy. He started off pretty hot, but he didn't get the distance bonus, so he didn't get the extra 30 seconds. And then Juan Soto was able to get it, and he took advantage of it. So unfortunately, J Rod pulled a classic Mariners and lost by choking in the final round. Classic Mariners. So yeah, it was
Wes
fun.
was running around his house like this.
Yeah. But no, it was fun. It was fun to watch, and it's fun to see a Mariners guy get on the big stage and make a name for himself.
I mean, it must be fun to be invested in baseball again,
Yeah.
right? It's been so long. Seattle's been starving for a
Yeah,
while.
14 game win streak. I mean, like we're the hottest team in baseball right now, and it's fucking awesome. Like I'm gonna be going to a game here soon, so I'm pretty excited. But at the same time, I'm completely 100% ready to be let down. Like when we get down to the final stretch, just like 14 game losing streak. I'm ready for it. Bring it on.
Yeah,
Bring on the pain.
still the winningest team ever to not win a World Series,
Yep.
right?
Although the Yankees might take that. They're on fire this year.
Doesn't that make you the biggest loser
I
then?
love how you go.
Yes. Thank you, Taylor. Biggest loser. Yeah. The Mariners. We all know that.
But I
Way to
love that
just
you just
stab
also
it in there.
sideswiped the Yankees, Wes. You also sideswiped the Yankees. You were like, no, get the Yankees out of here. They're going to win a ton of games and they're going to lose.
Well, I was
Does
saying
that try
they
to be
might
us?
win. They might take the title from the Mariners for like the most like modern or most wins in the modern era. I mean, they're on
Go
fire right
ahead,
now.
Taylor. What were you
I
going to say?
was gonna say, is that supposed to be a jab at me? Because your girl's not a Yankees fan. She's from New York, but she's a masochist. Definitely on the Mets side of things.
They're good right now, too, though. The
I hear
Mets are
they're
good
not
right
doing
now,
too
too.
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, they're in the lead in their division as well. It's a good time to be a New York baseball fan.
Unfortunately,
Um,
Especially
no
because
one likes New
next
York.
yeah,
week at Citibank will be David Wright Funko Pop Night. It's actually David Wright.
David
It's
Wright.
David Wright Marvel Funko Pop Night. So he looks like Captain
Oh
America.
shit. Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's awesome. He's one of my saddest stories in baseball ever because I thought David Wright was so great whenever he could play, but he could never play. He's like one of your guys, Wes, a famous Washington alum that played in the NBA, Brandon Roy, right?
Yeah.
He's one of these great players that could never actually we could never see how great they could be because they were always hurt,
Yep.
always injured.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, Wes.
Oh
Go
no, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, yeah, that was a sad story. I mean, I don't really care for Washington basketball, to be honest. But
You're an Oregon
yeah,
fan, I know.
but yeah, he kind of just flamed out. Got injured. I mean, it's a
He was a
tale as old as time.
trailblazer though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was also a trailblazer, so he spent a lot of time in the PNW.
yeah. I mean, but at the same time, he only had a couple good years, and then
Just couldn't stay
yeah,
healthy. He had a 60-point game.
yeah, he did. Like I said, he was good when he was healthy, but
So speaking of the home run derby, I've noticed they've got all these bells and whistles now, like you said, the long ball bonus, right?
yeah,
And it's interesting that they're trying to make it exciting to get us to tune in, almost like the NBA All-Star Weekend is trying to do with the dunk contest, right? They're like, "Ooh, look at this! Blake Griffin drove a Kia onto the court. I'm gonna drive a Jeep Wrangler.
That
Let's
was
see how
rigged though.
crazy it can get."
At least the
Yeah.
home run derby isn't rigged.
I mean, that's fair. That you actually get a solid result from the home run
Yeah.
derby, whereas they're just holding up cue cards like, I think this was a 10.
Yeah.
And everybody gets, how can you win if everybody gets 10s? Stop giving everyone 10s.
I think that the
It's at
flashy,
this point,
like,
it's whoever has the coolest prop, and
I
it's
think the
like, but that's
flashy, like,
controlled.
gimmicky thing, I don't really think that it works. Like, the most exciting thing about a home run derby is the stuff that you can't plan for, like a 21-year-old rookie coming and smacking like 60 something home runs and,
Pete
crushing it.
Alonso.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the guy's name was because my
Pete
boyfriend was
Alonso.
watching it. I think his last name was Rodriguez, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're talking about this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Talking about this year.
Yeah.
I thought you
yeah,
Julio
like that's
Rodriguez.
the
Yeah. J-Rod.
yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that's really exciting. The things that you can't plan for is what makes this an interesting event. It's just weird that they want to throw all this gimmicky thing to try to like rein you in. I don't really think that's what the audience is coming for in the first place.
Well, so I think the stuff like the long ball or whatever, like the long ball bonus, is just to like, I wouldn't really call it a gimmick. It's just like a lot of games they have like a little bonus or whatever, and I think it makes it
You don't think
fun.
it's a gimmick?
Not
I think it's a
really.
gimmick. Like when you play a
I
game
think a
of
gimmick
baseball,
would be
you hit a
like,
home run, you get a home run. That's it. They all count the same.
yeah, I mean, but like they're encouraging people to like try and just like smash it as hard as you can. I mean, that's what people want to see. But it's not like when
Because that's
Blake
the
Griffin
thing.
drove a freaking Kia on the court and then he won because Kia paid the NBA to have him win.
But that's the thing. They're
Oh, because of the advertisement dollars?
Yeah.
It almost seems like they're trying to incite those like genuine special moments.
Force the
Yeah,
moment.
like force it by being like we're going to encourage you to try to hit the farthest, world record home run rather than it just like happening spur of the moment kind of thing and then everybody being like that was awesome. I was there for that. Like I saw that. Now people are gunning for it where
You
it's
know,
like, "Oh, we should see this" kind of a thing.
I'm just going to say what we're all thinking, Taylor. Bring back steroids.
Oh
Bring 'em
no.
back. Bring back
Yes.
steroids.
Amen.
I've never been more excited for a home run derby than when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were on
Oh
steroids.
yeah. I mean, everyone was doing it. Who cares?
It was the most fun baseball we've ever seen
Yeah.
when Roger Clemens was on steroids, Sammy Sosa
Mark
was on,
McGwire.
everyone was on
Yeah,
steroids.
and
Everybody was throwing water
they
coolers
were
and
going
breaking
for
bats.
like
Go ahead,
they
Wes.
were going for like 60 plus home runs a year, like they were just in Barry Bonds. Yeah, just smashing it out of the park every day. Like,
Everyone that would walk up to the plate looked like a Greek god.
yeah. Like, come on, that's baseball. That was fun. Are you kidding me? Those home run chases or whatever, like it was amazing.
Oh my god, it captivated it. Everybody's like, how can baseball get into the nation's eye? I'm going to tell you right now.
Steroids.
Get rid of all the old writers, like we want to get rid of all the old senators. Okay, bring in the young bloods that really enjoyed the steroid era and just let them go.
Yep.
You know what? You need steroids. You need a little extra money for them. Baseball's got you. Baseball's going to pay for these
They have a
steroids.
steroid
Make our game
stipend.
exciting. Because you're right though. It's never captured the attention of America outside of the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Yeah.
since
Smash
this, like that
Bros.
since the steroid
Yeah.
era. What's
The
that?
Smash Brothers. Or the Bash
Yeah.
Brothers, yeah.
The Bash
Yeah.
Brothers, but Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire, right? I mean,
That also doesn't really strike me as like organic spur of the moment kind of baseball.
you know what? Science is organic.
And it's the same thing like with cycling. I mean, like Lance Armstrong got like drugged through the mud, but like he won when everyone else was doing steroids too. He was just better. If no one was doing steroids, he would have been winning anyways. Like,
Yeah, stop
And
acting
why
like
did he need
other
it though?
countries.
That's kind of the argument.
because
isn't
everyone
it?
else was doing it.
Yeah,
But if he could have
like
won
in
without
other
it
countries, need to stop
anyway.
acting like they weren't doing
Well, I'm
it.
saying if no
Go
one
ahead,
was
Taylor.
doing it, he would have won. He would have been winning.
Oh, if no one was doing it.
Like
I thought you
he
said-
was just better than everyone. Like whether it was like if everyone was natural, he was still better. If everyone was on roids, he was still better.
We also forget he did some great things with that money
Yeah,
too for
Live
cancer
Strong. Are you kidding
research.
me?
Yeah, like we like to bash him because of what he did to other players or other cyclists, but I think the other cyclists did some things too. Like it's not well, eventually I admitted it. Yeah, because you got caught red-handed. He never failed to test.
Yeah.
Like he was doing it, but all of you were. And some of you got caught red-handed and you're like, "Well, he didn't have my back." Yeah, bitch, you're the one that got caught. He didn't get caught. I don't know you. So, yes, he did some bad things. Sorry, I don't mean to make light of it, but he also like I don't think you can't completely eliminate all the good that he did. Lance Armstrong, not everyone, Lance Armstrong did in that because I just it's hard for me to see a crime where everybody's doing it, where everybody's taking steroids, every country's taking steroids. And like I said, it made the sport fun. Like I was tuning into cycling. I don't care about
Yeah.
cycling. I'm not Wes trying to run a triathlon. Okay? I don't care.
Maybe you should. It's fun.
Stop calling me fat on public television, Wes.
Too bad.
But yeah, so when baseball had the steroid scandal, we also had a lot of attention brought to it. And you know what? Sometimes these old guys, they just need attention, Wes. And we had one just recently. I think this old guy just needed some attention, and his name's LeBron James. Entering the Drew League.
You just
I
called
I
LeBron
don't
James
care.
old? Is he that old?
No.
I think he's like
Oh
39.
God.
How, are you sure? I don't think he's that old.
He's maybe 37 then, 37,
Yeah,
38.
37 sounds about right.
This is a segment that we like to
84.
call Wes is
Eight.
Googling shit.
All right, he's
37. Yeah.
37, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady's like what, 45?
Yeah, but Tom Brady's never gonna die, so he's immortal
I
apparently.
mean, LeBron
Like I don't know
James.
what Giselle's feeding him something into his jugular that's just keeping him young. Because ever since he's been married to Giselle, he's gotten significantly better looking.
I'm
I
sorry.
I
You
feel
have
like
seen her,
LeBron
right?
James. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Taylor, you can say it without saying it. It might be the sex, but I didn't want to say
No,
it.
no,
Okay.
no. I'm just saying, like, she herself is a gorgeous human being. Like, she has
Yes,
always
He's got to
taken
keep
care
up.
of herself. That's how she became a model. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, and she's the breadwinner in that house. She makes way more money than Tom
That
Brady
doesn't
does.
surprise
yeah.
me. Although now he has so many like advertising deals and stuff. He was on like Hertz commercials and like random things like that. So he might be doing a lot better now,
He's not
actually.
even close to her.
Their
He's not even close to her,
Really? I
Taylor.
feel like
their
I
Her empire is worth over $1 billion.
their family
no,
is
I
set
know
for
she
like
makes a ton of money. I
generations.
just feel like I have not seen
Yeah.
her model much in recent years.
She doesn't
So
need
once
to.
you can stop working and just do things from behind the scenes, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah,
Once you're a
but that's
billionaire,
why
it's
I
like, you
don't
know
know
what?
what
I don't
she's
have to walk
doing.
down that runway. Yeah, I don't have to walk down that runway. I'm a billionaire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay people to do it for me. What were you saying, Wes?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, she just like she's behind the scenes. So yeah, you're not supposed to know what she's doing.
And yet she still looks amazing.
So Wes, was this for the players in the Drew League or was this for attention? Because I'm screaming it was a call for attention. He needed the spotlight on him. The Warriors were getting too much shine. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are in the news. No one's talking about LeBron
I
James,
don't
and
think
he's in his
I don't
feels.
think he cares about that anymore. Like maybe when he was younger, sure, but like I think it was a publicity. I mean, like it was for the players. I think like
If you
these
were
Drew League
about to say it
players.
was a publicity
No,
stunt and he didn't do it for attention all in one sentence, I was going to lose it.
Shut your mouth. But yeah, no, like it's. I think it was really cool for the players. Like these players who are like trying to make it into basketball or whatever, they got to play with LeBron James. Like even if you get
Yeah,
dominated by him, it's still fucking awesome. Kidding me?
still LeBron James.
Yeah. And at the same time, it probably drew like a lot of people to like the Drew League. Like it probably boosted ticket sales. Like
I feel like he probably
yep.
just showed up though. How do you boost ticket sales when someone just spur of the moment shows up?
Well, those are walk-in. Those are walk-in. So you could.
Yeah.
It's not like. It's like will call Taylor at a not will call at a concert. Gee whiz! It's like the box office that's at the venue, right? When people can just walk up and buy
No, I
tickets.
know, but
No one's.
people need to be in the area. They need to be made aware before he's like gone, type of thing. You know?
Oh, do you know how cell phones work?
I am aware of how cell
I'm
phones
just kidding.
work. Do
I'm
you know
just
how
kidding.
traveling in LA works?
That's true. That's true. That's fair. But you know, the second he walked in that arena, people were not just texting and calling; they were like tweeting about it. It was on Instagram. It was on TikTok. It was everywhere. And that stadium was full. And here's the thing: you know, he got his people out in the streets before he showed
Oh
up.
yeah,
You knew LeBron James is not going to go if there's not a crowd. Wes,
yeah. Well, apparently, like
Because
word
he
was going
wanted
on like all
attention?
day.
Because it wasn't just to do something nice for the community? Is that what you just said, Fry?
I that's my thought on it. I'm Wes is on taking the other one.
No, I don't see anything wrong with it. Okay, I mean you can think like all you want, but at the end of the day, no one really knows what was going through his head except for
I just
LeBron.
ultimately don't
But
know how much good it does for the community. I think it does more for like his public image and face than anybody else in that community. That's all I'm saying.
I think it brings attention to Drew League. I mean, like how many people actually knew what the Drew League was until LeBron showed up? Who knew like who any of those players were until
Hey
LeBron showed up?
Wes, for our viewers out there who don't know what the Drew League is, you wanna explain that to me?
The Drew League is it's a pro am league in Los Angeles, um, and so it's a lot of players that are like trying to get into like the G League for basketball. They're just like basically trying to work their way up through the minors almost.
But they're all like plumbers and carpenters
Yeah,
and
Okay, so
high
they're not
school coaches.
okay, so they're not like young. They're not like youngins. They're like adult-ish.
They're adults.
yeah.
They're fully
Okay.
grown adult males. Yeah, they're the Uncle Ricos. It's a league of Uncle
So like what
Ricos.
is the
It's
average age would we say of like the players on these teams?
25 to 35, I would say,
Okay.
maybe older, but average age 25 to 35. Wes, what do you think?
I wouldn't have the slightest idea, to be honest.
Take a take a guess.
20,
Take a risk.
28.3 average age.
Okay. Okay. There we
The
go.
most accurate
28.3,
guess you
everybody.
could have gotten.
That's not just any guess. That's the guess of an engineer. So, LeBron James wasn't the only player that needed attention. He was just the only great player that needed attention. Let me say that again. LeBron James wasn't the only player that needed attention this week. He was the only great player that needed attention because we got news from a former Raider. And Wes, you were there when Jamarcus Russell. I won't be Skip Bayless. I will not call him Jamarcus Suckle. Okay, Jamarcus Russell is what I'm going to call him, not Jamarcus Suckle. Jamarcus Russell. I want to be very clear. He is not Jamarcus Suckle. He is Jamarcus Russell. So,
So Fry is now
um,
going to accidentally say that throughout the rest of the podcast now, right?
Fry
I
hates
just want to
him.
be very clear that I don't think that. Others may think that of him. I don't. You know, his name is Jamarcus Russell. His name's probably very important to him. He just shouldn't have been terrible. So,
You're so
in
bitter.
line with
So
that,
bitter.
I'm so bitter, especially after the comments this week. Especially after the comments this week that he wanted to come out and talk about how the organization let him down. You were the first pick. Guess what? When you're the first pick in the NFL, you go to the shittiest team.
Yeah.
That's how the draft
And
works.
you're supposed to look
But
at the plays. You're supposed to study the playbook.
you're supposed to try. Maybe don't come into camp like we drafted an offensive lineman, Jamarcus. Maybe don't come into camp at 305
Beast
pounds.
mode.
Try that, right? Yeah.
Something I've
he was
learned.
a
He was
little-
Eddie Lacy before Eddie Lacy.
He was. He was. What's up, Taylor? What'd you
Something
learn?
I've learned as I get older and, work in whatever jobs I'm working in is that sometimes your skill and how good you are is not important enough to get you by. Even if you're the best on the team, sometimes your attitude and the way that you interact with the other people you have to work with matters
Mm-hmm.
exponentially more. Because yeah, you might be great in what you do, but if you're ultimately making everybody else on the team, in your job, what on your you know whatever, whoever you're working with, if you're making them uncomfortable, you're doing everybody else a disservice because they're not going to perform at their best, which I think ultimately fails everybody way more.
Yeah, no, he was a big letdown. I mean, he's the owner of the slowest spin move ever seen by any quarterback ever against the Philadelphia Eagles. So Wes is the only one that can corroborate this story because he was watching the draft with me. I wanted Brady Quinn, and not
Oh,
that he turned out to be
absolutely.
some shining star. Yeah, not that he turned out to be some shining star. I just thought he was a better prospect than Jamarcus Russell. I thought a lot of people were high on Jamarcus Russell just because he could throw the ball a billion yards, and and he could. He had a great arm, but I could look through that as somebody that played and be like, that's not a great quarterback though. He's in a situation where LSU has all the best athletes. They're up there with Alabama with just athletes everywhere, right? And he could just get back there, not use his brain, and throw the ball 100 yards, and someone would be there because they run at the speed of fucking light. But when we drafted him, I shut off the TV in the day room in the military.
Yeah.
Shut it off. I shut off the TV and walked away. I went to my dorm room. I was like, I can't watch this. We just made a mistake. And guess what,
You
Jamarcus?
did
I
that.
wasn't
You
wrong.
did that multiple times though. You did that with Darius Hayward Bay instead of Michael
I did
Crabtree.
do that with Darius Hayward Bay.
You were mad. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you threw the remote. You might have broken it. I can't remember for sure.
I'm just the Raiders have a history of letting me down with the draft,
Well,
and I get into
I
arguments.
feel like that was mostly
Go ahead.
Al Davis's Raiders. Mark Davis isn't as bad.
No, but Mayock and Gruden were. They were Clellan Farrell. That's all I'm going to say. PJ Hall.
How about
Okay, like get this.
how about that Mr. Big Chest acquisition last year?
Alex Leatherwood. Yeah, like
no,
all.
Mr. Big Chest.
I don't know what you're referring to.
I'm like drawing. Oh, AB. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name.
Oh,
AB.
that wasn't last year though. That was year before
yeah,
last
year
year.
before last year. But yeah,
Yeah,
another
and
stupid.
you know
decision.
what? He let John Gruden and oh golly, now Mayock know, like Mike Mayock know, like they're idiots. He played them. He played them like a fiddle, right? He absolutely played them like a fiddle and got out of there. But one of the funniest stories to come out of this is Jamarcus Russell said he was never fully supported. He never stood a chance. They brought in Lane Kiffin, one of the best offensive minds in football, by the way. Yes, I said it. Whatever. He's not a great head coach. Who cares? He's great at offense. Look at all of his offenses in every college he's
Oh
ever
yeah.
coached at. Yeah, he's great. Okay. And then Wes, I turned you on to a pretty funny story on Kirk Morrison's podcast, right? One of our former really good linebackers to play for the Raiders. And what was that story, Wes?
So they gave him a blank DVD and said, "Hey, these are some plays we've been drawing up. We want you to take a look at them. Let us know which plays you like, which plays you don't like." And they come back the next day and they're like, "Hey, Jamarcus, what'd you think of those plays?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, man, they were all great." He's like, "I loved them all. Let's run them." And they were like, "But like, how many? You know, like, did you like all of them? Like, did you like 5 or 6 of them? Or there any you didn't like?" And he's like, "No, coach, they were all great." And they're like, "Bro, we gave you a blank DVD."
Now, what's funny about this, Wes, is did you guys ever watch the show Ballers on HBO with The Rock?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Rock took this story and made a whole almost a whole episode out of it where they're drafting. They're like, you want to see if a guy's smart or not? You put $100 in the playbook when you send it to him, and if that $100 is still there and they mention it, they read the playbook. If the $100 is gone, they read the playbook. If they don't know that there was $100 in the playbook at all and there's no mention of $100, they never read the playbook. And that's what it was, right? He never read the playbook. Now that show was a bit overrated,
Now,
and that brings me. Go ahead.
So he was complaining or whatever because he was on the podcast and he was like, "Man, they set me up to fail." But it's like if they did that, they probably had some suspicion that you weren't reading the playbook in the first place. Like they probably did that for a reason.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's, remember, Lane Kiffin did not want to draft him. It was a fight. That's what got Lane Kiffin fired eventually with Al Davis when he, I liked Al Davis. I'm not going to lie. Like, I got pissed at him, but he was a good owner for the Raiders. And for a long time before the 2000s draft mishaps. But he came out in a press conference and he talked about how Lane Kiffin is a liar and Jamarcus Russell is a fabulous football player, and he never wanted to draft him. And that was the end of Al Davis's press conference days because he was wrong. Lane Kiffin did not want to draft Jamarcus Russell because he didn't check all the boxes. He wasn't an intelligent football player. He wasn't ready for the system like Lanes. He wasn't going to be good. And guess what? He wasn't. And he never got another shot because no other team thought he was good. Go ahead, Wes.
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say, yeah, he was garbage, and like you said, like most busts usually get a shot as like a backup or whatever. No one would even take him.
Hmm. No, he can't even play in the USFL.
No.
Okay? Get out of here with that. But like I was saying, Ballers was an overrated show. I'm not gonna lie, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I had to stop before the final season because I was like, all right, this is a bit much. But before that, I enjoyed the show, and I got into a discussion with somebody over the weekend where I said, look, I love Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is one of my favorite fighters. I think she's overrated as a fighter because I think she was a pioneer. I don't think she's one of the best fighters I've ever seen, but I enjoyed watching her fight. I enjoyed her mentality, and I enjoyed what she did for the sport. And the person I was speaking with said, you can't do that. You can't enjoy something and then say it's overrated. Go ahead, Taylor. Go ahead.
I don't think that's true at all. You could definitely like things that are overrated. People love things that are overrated. That I mean, like, I- I- things are really good and they're great, and yeah, you like them because of that. It gets to a point though where people like it so much where you're like, okay, maybe it's not that great, but I still love it. I still think that whatever this thing, product, person is amazing, but I don't need like the fandom, like hardcore cult culture aspect that some of these things accrue. I think that like you can still be that like you can still like something even if other people like it to an extreme. Like, there's a reason
Yeah, I
people
mean,
like
like,
it to an
Yeah.
extreme, so I don't know.
Go ahead,
I
Wes.
was gonna say, yeah, like with movies, like all the time, like I like like there's some movies I like that are like everyone's like, oh, this is the best movie ever made. I'm like, it was really good, but like I wouldn't say it was the best. Like I still
That
think
was
it's
the example I
overrated.
went to.
Yeah,
No, Wes, that's the example I went to. I was like, look, I like a lot. I really enjoy a lot of movies that I know aren't good movies. Like, I'm aware this is not a good movie,
yeah,
but I enjoy it, right? Or like some of the last Fantastic Beast movie. I was like, I like it, but people were gonna say it's great and stuff, and that's overrating it.
yeah.
I like it, I enjoy it, but I know it's not a great movie.
Yeah, but like
Um,
with Rhonda, I would agree. Like she's not like I wouldn't say she's one of the goats. Well, like I mean, maybe she is. Like if you look at the whole picture in terms of like not just fighting ability, but what she did for the sport and like being entertaining.
yeah, she's
Hmm.
definitely not like
But
the
like,
first female fighter, but as far as like breaking boundaries for female fighters, I would definitely say she led the way
yeah,
for a lot of people.
absolutely,
She was the first female champion in the UFC, though. Go ahead,
yeah.
Wes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was just saying. Like, absolutely. I mean, like she was definitely like a pioneer for like bringing women's fighting to like the forefront and getting it into the UFC because Dana White at one point said women are never going to fight in the UFC. And what happened? There they are.
I know. If only he could just break on the pay the athletes thing. If only he could just pay the fighters, right? Like he admitted he was wrong about women in the UFC. Can he just admit he's wrong about not paying his
That's
fighters,
such an
right? That
insane
slave labor is
that's
wrong.
such
Cheap
an
ass.
insane thought to me in the first place that like female fighters would never be in the MMA because they are some of the most interesting fighters to watch. I know I've said this before, but the way that they move and maneuver their bodies and the techniques that they use compared to like the brute force of a lot of male fighters is so much more fascinating to watch.
No, in recent years I've said some of the most exciting fights have been female
Yeah.
fights. Like I will get up for female fights more often than I will get up for some male fights, and it's like Israel Adesanya lately. Like he's somebody that I would tune in to watch, but ever since he won the championship, I get it. The goal is to keep the championship and keep the money, right? But
Yeah.
it's just so boring. Like GSP went down that road too, where it's just like, man, I love the art, I love the science, and I get that. But also, I do want to be entertained when I pay $80 for a pay per view. Like, I don't want to be bored for the whole thing. And unfortunately, a lot of it has turned into
I
that.
will
That's
say,
And I don't want to keep the audience.
that's why you watch the
What's that?
undercard.
no, no, finish your thought.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was gonna say, and I don't want to keep the audience bored. So we got to wrap here. Final thoughts, Taylor.
Um, no, I mean, I was just gonna comment one final thing on the. That's why fuck Vince McMahon, but like that's why the WWE does it right. You know, they are gonna fight. You know, you're showing up for a battle, but they also know that people want it to be interesting, and they try really hard to instill that into like their
They
fights.
want that story.
Yeah,
And WWE they pay their wrestlers.
Athletes.
Yeah.
sort
So
of.
they just don't give them healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't give them healthcare
Yeah.
They
after.
just don't take
They
care
got
of
their
them.
they got their
They
skeletons
pay them
too.
so they can take care of
But
themselves. Sort of.
but they have more athlete success stories than the UFC does. They really do. They do have more athlete success stories that have gone on to become multi-millionaires, have a sustainable income, have a life after wrestling. They do have some ancillary characters that didn't make it.
Yeah.
I hope we're not ancillary characters that don't make it. And I just want to say, you guys can reach out to us. Please let us know. I know I forgot the best taco salad. I'm sorry. I got scared last minute about posting it on Twitter.
It was a taco
and getting
bowl,
all
not a
kinds of
taco
hate.
salad.
Yes, you're right. And I didn't want to get all the hate, and I didn't want to make people think that I leaned a certain way, and I got scared.
No, you really
Okay,
just
I got
didn't
scared.
want
But
Homelander to come after you.
yeah, and laser beam my eyes off. But you can reach me at The Sad Fan or The Sad Fan Podcast on Twitter. You can also reach me at The Sad Fan on Instagram. Taylor, where can they reach you?
Find me on all the things at It's Taylor Stone.
And you can also reach us on our YouTube channel. And if you want to get a hold of Wes, you're going to have to Sherlock Holmes that shit.
Do it.
One day I'll get an official.
He probably
social
has really
media.
embarrassing stuff on there.
Probably.
He doesn't want you to know. He's keeping it hidden. Now you have to be a sleuth. What has he got going on?
You don't want to
Who
know.
is Wesley Watkins?
Who am I?
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. What was that, Wes?
Who am I deep down?
Deep down. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate all of you. As always, like, share, subscribe, rate, and review. And we will see you back here next week.
Bye.